Hey everyone, welcome back to the Infatuasian podcast. Man, we have a fun show for you today, and I have a special guest coming in for a second time. It is Katie. Welcome back, Katie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, it's a funny story. We just did an episode on Singles Inferno, and you were like, hey, if there's any other shows, let me know. And then you wrote, I don't know if you have, but have you watched this show called The Brother's Son? And I was like, Katie. Do I have a show for you to join on? And I said, you want to join on this episode? And you were like, sure, let's do it.
I should have known that you probably had this already on your radar, but yeah, I hadn't seen it put out yet. So I was like, oh, I wonder if it's like too late to join or ask about it. So I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
No, I like having more people asking questions and being part of this. But it's really exciting because not only, like last time we just talked about Singles Inferno.
Mm-hmm.
This time, we are actually talking to two of the stars of the show. We're talking to Blood Boots and June today.
I know. I can't wait.
It's pretty exciting. Yeah, and audience out there, you're probably wondering, how does a high school biology teacher know Hollywood actors? Well, the truth is I don't, but what I do is I'm good at stalking, and I'm good at sliding into people's DMs and stuff. So I just cold DM people, and I just DM them and say, hey, would you like to come on the podcast to talk about this? And once in a while, someone will be cool enough to come on. So we got two of them today. That's going to be exciting.
Honestly, I feel like people are always surprised that the way that people make intros is through sliding into DMs or doing like a cold email. Like I used to do that all the time for my blog when I was doing interviews. Like there's no harm in asking, and people read their emails.
Yeah. And the worst thing they can do is ignore you or say no.
Yes, correct.
So anyway, we have a good show for you. We're waiting for two of the actors to come on. We're going to be talking with Jon Xue Zhang, a.k.a. Blood Boots, and Alice Hewkin, who plays May and June. So stay tuned for that. And as usual, thanks for listening. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Infatuasian podcast. What a show we have for you today. We are going to be talking about the Netflix show, The Brother's Son, which, I don't know who out there hasn't watched this show, but it is a fantastic show. Came out January 24th, 2024, and it stars Michelle Yeoh and a whole bunch of other cool people, some of whom you will meet today. So we can't wait to get into it. And from the past, we have a co-host joining us today. We have Katie again. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here with everyone.
Oh, so glad to have you back. And we are thrilled to have two actors from The Brother's Son. We have Jon Zhang, who plays Blood Boots himself, and Alice Hewkin, who plays May and June. So I don't know if the audience knows, but you guys are both Brits. Actually, John kind of surprised me. I didn't know he was a Brit, but I saw you guys on a red carpet interview, and then your accent comes through, and I was like, oh, yeah, interesting. I've heard it's easier for Brits to do American accents than it is for Americans to do British accents. Do you agree, or what do you know about that?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Yeah, that's a good question because I've seen a lot of Americans do some very good British accents. Renee Zellweger, for one, she did flawless accent in Bridget Jones. And so actually, yeah, so sometimes I feel like it is easier to do your accent probably than the other way around, but there are some actors that nail it, really.
Absolutely. Someone said you just speak British English but lazy. If you want to do American, you just speak it more lazily.
Like totally.
Yes,
totally.
That's like totally. Exactly. Like you guys definitely, you relax more in the mouth and everything is more backwards, whereas English is way more forward and everything is like more open. Like you really use the mouth. Yeah, to articulate.
So you just get kind of tired and lazy, and then the American accent comes. All right. Hey, we like to greet our guests in the Asian way. So it's like 8:30 over there, but I want to ask you guys, have you eaten yet? Chirlama?
No, I haven't eaten since Wednesday, actually.
Oh,
Yeah. So I do a lot of intermittent fasting. So no, I haven't eaten.
Oh no. Okay. Well, you're okay though. You're not gonna faint on us or anything.
I'm
Oh,
good.
okay.
I'm all good.
How about you, Alice? Have you had dinner?
Oh, John's amazing. He's like a beast. He can just go through. Yeah, you can eat for like not 2 days, whereas I get hangry.
Yeah.
So I have to.
Oh,
I love good food, actually. I love all cuisines. And I did eat. I actually had a very yummy dinner. I had gnocchi with some sauce thing, actually. It was like a salady thing, but yeah, it was really good. Really
amazing.
good.
So we might talk about food a little bit, John. That'll be okay, right? We're not going to tempt you too much.
Please, absolutely.
All right. Wait, let's dig into your past a little bit. So obviously both Brits, but what are your roots? So let's start with John. John, what are your roots?
So my parents are from Taiwan. Then my dad had a job here in the UK, and that's where I was born. So I'm born and raised here in England. So I'm British. But yeah, I speak Mandarin, Cantonese, and some French too. So I had a lot of friends in Hong Kong from Hong Kong. So at school, so I picked up Cantonese too. But yeah, that's my background.
Nice. How about you, Alice?
So I was born in China, in Jiangsu province, which is close by to Shanghai.
Right.
And I also believe you have the beautiful blossoms, the jasmine blossoms in spring. It's known for that, which is incredibly beautiful. But yes, so I was born there, and then I was adopted at 9 months. My mum is Norwegian and my dad is British, and I grew up in Cambridge. So, my parents really tried their best to get the Mandarin lessons going and everything. But and I can't speak as well as Jon, but I am taking lessons and slowly learning, which I'm loving, and I feel like it feels really special, actually. So I take any opportunity I can to connect with those roots. But yeah, that's kind of my background.
No, that's great. Yeah. No, I was wondering. I was like, Hewkin. Where did that come from?
Yeah, a lot of people get Hewkin mixed up with Hawking, who's the famous scientist.
Okay. Yeah.
But no, it's a British surname from my dad's side. Yeah.
Awesome. Do you think now you know a lot of Asian Americans, I'm sure, but do you think there's a big difference between Asian Americans and Asian Brits, like how you grew up, or was it difficult growing up in England?
So having spent a lot of time with Asian Americans, it would appear that we all had very similar upbringings.
Yeah.
So, I think the same kind of parenting, the same kind of regimes, the routines and everything. And the traditions. So there's certainly a lot of similarities between British-born and American-born from what I've seen. I'm sure there are some differences too, but Alice, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with that. I think I feel like I've spent equal amount of time with the British Asian community, and also the American Asian community. And I think what's great is they're very welcoming, and they just we feel like a community on both sides, and that feels really special. And I love that. Yeah, I think it felt like that. Right, Jon?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Since you're both in the entertainment industry, do you remember seeing people that look like you on screen? Or do you remember the first time you saw someone that looked like you? And it could have been YouTube, it could have been TV or movies.
That is such a good question. I love getting asked that question because I honestly didn't see a lot of me when I was growing up. What feels really special about this project, and more projects in the future, and also the ones that have come before us, is that it represents the Asian community and Asians. And I think that's so important because when I was growing up, I really just had Michelle. I would see Michelle. And really that kind of was it. I mean, I'm sure there were more. But it was slim pickings.
It really was. Yeah.
We really, and it does feel like it's come a long way. Like kids today who are growing up will be able to watch things like literally The Brother Sun. And I think that's why it's so imperative. It's so important because it's there in front of the screens, and kids will be like, that looks like me. And even though they might not be living a gangster, triad life, or exactly that replica, they'll just see themselves. And
Absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
almost so important in just growing up and knowing who you want to be, and for confidence. And so I did not have much of that when I was growing up. Yeah. I mean, we have Gemma Chan, obviously, who's beautiful and has paved, the way and done incredible work on the British side. And there were so many more actors. But I feel like, with Gemma and particularly Michelle, like they've had to carve the way for us. Like it's a little bit easier now, I feel. And there's been people that have come before us that really had to go through the sticky mud, and it's not all like plain sailing, but it's a lot better.
Right. How about you, John? Did you see anyone that looked like you growing up?
So yeah, I mean, we had Jet Li, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan. So I think seeing Jet Li move into Hollywood was huge when he first did Lethal Weapon 4, and it's like, wow, okay. And then, we had other people like Daniel Day-Kim, who's still around and still looks the same. Gosh. And certainly it's changed over time. But I think at the time, there really wasn't that many. And if there was, it was like the roles were more stereotypical. And so I'm very happy to see that's changed now. That's changing.
Yeah, it really is changed just in the last, they say Crazy Rich Asians was 2018. And they said that was kind of a mark, maybe a turning point mark for the industry. Yeah. Well, John, that slides right into our next question. I was going to ask you, did you start off in stunts first or acting first? How did your career go?
Stunts first. So my first job was 47 Ronin with Keanu Reeves. And entry level, green fighting stunt job. And after that, the coordinators, some of the trainers, they remembered me for other jobs. So they brought me back for 24, Doctor Strange. It's been kind of like incestuous, where you do work from one, work with the same people, go to the next. And it was I only took film full time maybe a couple years ago. But up until that point, it's like I worked a desk job, worked a bunch of 9-to-5s, as well as part-time jobs in the evening. And then it was like, if I had a film day, I could take a day off work and go do that. It was only more in the past couple of years that I started delving more into the acting side. And I must say, it's like I'm enjoying that. I'm very much enjoying the acting side, especially as I'm honest enough to say that I don't want to get hurt anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
absolutely.
Sure.
So, I started with stunts and moved into acting.
No lie, when I saw you on Brother Son, I said to myself, man, that guy's body looks kind of like Don Lee's body. And then I looked on your Instagram, and lo and behold, you were Don Lee. Like you were Gilgamesh in The Eternals.
That was a dream come true, because Don Lee was one of my heroes. He still is one of my heroes, and he is one of the loveliest people. He came on set and would remember everybody's names. So he was actually everybody's favorite to work with, for sure. You know what I mean? He was loveliest guy in the world, honestly.
All right. Yeah, no, that's good to know, because sometimes I don't know. We don't know as viewers out there who's nice and who's not. We're like, oh, I hope this person's nice, because I like his characters too, like in Train to Busan and The Eternals. Yeah.
What a film.
Yeah. Let's see. And so, Alice, I see something on your IMDb. Like you're young, but you have like over almost 30 credits on IMDb. You have something from when you were like 7 or 8 years old. You were on Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you like 8 years old on that? How old? You got started really young.
I was really young. Quite 8, but I would go with 12 years old.
Oh, okay.
I was on that. Like that was the first ever Sherlock Holmes and Baker Street Irregulars. And I filmed that with Aaron Johnson and Jonathan Pryce, who are both incredible. Jonathan Pryce is in The Crown, who plays someone very important. He's the king.
Okay.
He's the king. Woo. I was like, and,
Okay.
and he's so talented. And Aaron Johnson, I mean, also a huge star. And that was the first time that I really got like a taste of it. And it just was the best thing ever. I had so much fun. And I remember someone telling me that you can do this as a job. So, I never forgot that. And then kind of went to drama school. I went to Central School of Speech and Drama, and then started auditioning, and then working in theatre and kind of doing bit parts in great shows. And then, here I am.
Yeah, no, I saw Game of Thrones. You're a small part, but you're in Game of Thrones.
Well, what's interesting is the roles that I've done prior to The Brother's Son have all been roles where I've been very heavily made up, so you actually can't recognize me, which I kind of like, or they're very, very different to me. So you wouldn't know unless you went, oh yes, that's Alice from The Crown, the character from, because I just look quite different. So I think that's nice.
Was this your first action role, or have you done action stuff before?
No, this was my first action role, like hardcore action role, indeed, yes.
Yeah. What do you think, John? How'd she do?
She did great. Fantastic. I mean, Alice and I worked out together a lot. We worked out a lot together. So, Alice picked things up very quickly, especially someone who hasn't done screen combat. And it's like, wow, okay, this is great. And it's, Alice, you and I trained a lot together.
I mean, John's like, training with Jon was like, it's like training with the all-time wizard in terms of like knowledge, but also just his kindness. And it was really quick pace, and you had to like learn a fight and then boom, film it. And so I'm someone that really likes to make sure that I'm extra prepared. So I very kindly asked Jon to help me and train me like extra on top of the training that I'd already done. And it really did help. Like, it really made a difference. Kind of like lines, you do your lines and your scene. And I think every actor has their own process and their own journey, but with something that's a choreographed fight, like the more you know it and it's in your body, the more relaxed you're going to be. And I'll do that until 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's like, because Alice and I were both from the UK, it's like, spending a lot of time with each other, and we got to help each other with each other's lines, training together. So it was great,
I definitely remember like there was some very late nights, and some like I would text Jon and be like, oh, please, can you just come over to run over this one bit of the choreo? And Jon would be there. He'd be like, yeah, there in 10 minutes. And I'd be like, this is so nice, like to have someone to help you like that. And, I was like, Jon, if you need, not that he needed it, but if I was like, if you need help with just running lines or going through stuff, I was like there. And probably because we were both from London, like not London, so like the UK, we both had like, it was like, you're British. Okay. Yeah.
No, I'm definitely getting Big Brother vibes from you, John.
Oh, yeah. He's got Big Brother. Totally. 1000%.
And actually, that's how we got on this call so I DM'd John, and John was so kind to reply. And he's like, yeah, I'll come on the show. And I said, well, yeah, if you have any other people that, you want to come on with you. And he's like, well, I'm working out with Alice right now, so we'll get this thing together. Yeah.
Yeah, you called us. And I was like, okay, this is perfect. We did work out the last trip as well, because went to the gym and got a few reps in. So, that was really fun.
Yeah. What do you think, Katie? You want to work out with Jon and Alice sometime? That'd be fun, right?
Oh my gosh, I'd be so intimidated.
Jon is like the nicest person to work out with. The nicest and the most patient and so good. Like, your muscles hurt within 10 minutes.
Oh man, I don't doubt that at all. That would be a really fun experience. We'd have to get that on video for sure.
I'd love that.
Yeah, that could be a side business, John. It'd be like workout with blood boots,
You know what's funny? It's like, because I have quite a soft manner, I can get people to go an extra mile. So I think we can just do 2 more reps. Let's just do.
And so polite. So polite.
People won't want to say no to you.
Interesting, actually, which I observed, which I think it is an interesting thing, is that with Jon, you are the kindest person and the sweetest, and you have a very soft voice, but you look absolutely ripped, and you look like if you don't talk to you're like, whoa, that guy would just. Like, I would not want to meet that guy in a dark alley or be on his like bad side. Like, you look more intimidating. Whereas I think with me, I'm quite petite and I'm so bubbly and friendly. But then if I get angry, I can like change. I think it's just like my eyes and my intensity. So it's like all those little things that you don't think about someone. I feel like Jon and I both, we have that in a sense. Like, Jon looks a certain way, is, and same with me. Sorry, not saying that I'm angry all the time, but yeah.
Someone made that meme about you, Alice, where your character June is walking on the college campus, and they said something like, they were like, was anybody else scared when June walked up to Bruce, and everyone was like, oh yeah, terrified. I mean, you're small, like you're like 100 pounds, right? You're not very big, but when you came on there with the.
But yeah, I know. It's so funny because if I get really angry, I think people are just really shocked. There's like a moment of like, is this person really angry? Like, you were literally so bubbly, cute. And it's like, oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're going to slide into talking about the show. So I want to warn everyone out there who hasn't watched The Brother's Son. I mean, who hasn't? But if you haven't watched it, we're going to give you a spoiler alert now. So if you haven't watched it and you want to watch it before we talk about the plot, get away from your devices right now before we spoil it for you. So I will play a little bit of the theme song from The Brother's Son. And by the time the song is over, if you're still here, you're going to hear some spoilers. So The Brother's Son, let me read the IMDb description. It is Charles' son, or Sun, a Taipei gangster who settled into his life as a ruthless killer, but he must go to LA to protect his mother and helpless brother after his father is shot by a mysterious assassin. Dun, dun, dun. Katie, so you're a fan of the show. When did you first hear about The Brother's Son? Did it just pop up on your Netflix feed?
No, so I actually heard about it a while back. So you all have to keep me accountable on this. But I think the first time it was released that Michelle Yeoh was tied to the project was, I think, back in 2022. And so that was like the first ties about it. And so I stay up to date on pop culture and I like to know what's coming out. And so I remember seeing that and thinking, oh, okay, I'll get more news once it's like closer to the date. And it ended up being like almost 2 years later. But yeah, that was my first awareness of it. And then once, I think in the fall was when the trailer started coming out, the first teaser trailer, and then the more full one. And I was like, wow, I am so excited. Like, I didn't really know what it was about. I didn't read any articles about it. I don't even think I saw this IMDb description, but I knew I was going to watch it.
Yeah, for sure. How about you guys? When did you hear about the show? Was it through a casting call, or did someone else tell you about it before you auditioned for it?
So the casting department reached out to me directly to submit a self-tape because they said that, we think you might be good for a role if you'd like to read for it. I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. And at the time, there's limited information about the show. So even once I got cast for the show, it was only maybe a couple months later when Netflix announced the full cast, did I see that Michelle Yeoh was attached to it.
Oh.
It was like, wait, what? So I found out when everybody else found out. And I was like, oh no, oh my gosh. So it was super exciting. And especially seeing Alice's face, I was like, okay, Alice and I connected on Instagram. So at least when I fly out, I've got a friend out there already, someone who I already know from the UK.
Yeah. How about you, Alice? When did you hear about the show? Did your agent get it to you, or did you see it some other way?
No, my agent got it to me. So my team, literally, I got the sides through. It was all very top secret. And I remember reading the sides thinking, oh, this looks super fun. And I went on my little self-tape journey. And yeah, then I went through the process. It was an incredible casting process. I had honestly the best time doing it. And as you go further in, you kind of get to know a bit more about your characters. And a lot about it, I think, is you get to just read the sides and go, oh my God, this is actually a really good script. You know, this is really beautifully and written and really fun. And I just got excited straight away. And then I auditioned. Yeah.
Yeah. And Alice, I mean this in the most complimentary way. Like you were just too good at your job. But May and June, it took me a little bit of a second to realize that you were playing both characters. So that was, I remember doing like a double take. I maybe even rewinded back to look and make sure. But how would you describe the differences between May and June?
That's a really good question. And thank you so much. Like, honestly, every time someone says that they're like, they double take or wait, they're like, wait, what? You played both? I'm just like, yes. And obviously I did it. So for me, I'm like, can you not see that? But I mean, my own dad did not recognize me as May. So that was a very funny moment. When he watched it, he was like, there was like a woman coming on and she had a fringe and he was like waiting for me. And I was like, that is me. So I thought that was quite funny, like my own dad. Yeah, the difference is that I would say May was a lot more outgoing and bubbly. So like I really had fun with playing a bit more with like the LA kind of, oh my gosh, and like being really fun and like, oh, this is so amazing, and just being really Californian, but trying to keep her grounded. And then also remembering that she is like ahead of a drug cartel, so that she can change and be erratic. She's a fighter. She's very well trained. So she has a little bit of this, I don't want to say craziness, but, erratic behavior. And the way how she kind of uses people is she's very like I thought of it like this, like she's very like open and bubbly and charming. Mm-hmm. And then she switches because she's like, I've got you as my friend. I've got you to do what I need you to do. And now I'm going to literally do this to you. And it's like, that was quite fun, having fun with that. And then June was a lot more, she was a lot more inward. So she was much more grounded. She also, I think, thinks, not saying that May doesn't think, but June is, I don't want to say darker, but she's more inward as a person. Mm-hmm. I think she's quite vulnerable as well. She's got a very soft and artistic side to her. Yeah. But at the beginning, she kind of judges very quickly. She's like instantly like, you're going to hurt me. You're there to do this to me. So I'm just going to be very standoffish and stoic. And I think that I found those two sides in my personality as well and brought them to the two twins. Because I would say I have at moments both of those traits. Yeah.
So much fun, yeah.
But the costume and the makeup helped a lot with that as well,
Sure.
So yeah.
I love all the costumes. Just everything was phenomenal.
John, did they let you take the red boots? Do you get to take those home with you?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
absolutely. That
nice.
Is cosplay sorted for the rest of my life now. So
that's cool. That's cool.
But actually, I'd like to add on though. So when I flew out to LA, Alice had already finished with playing May. So when I watched the show, I was like, "Whoa, okay, it's this is quite an adjustment." And I think it was just amazing to see Alice play both of those characters and just seeing the contrast between them. And I remember when I was watching the show, Alice and I spoke on the phone, and it was like, funny. You were so good. Like the screen presence was just phenomenal.
I literally said the same to Jon because obviously I hung out with him as a friend. It wasn't like he was blood boots with me. So I was like, oh God,
we had no scenes together.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
No, not yet. Maybe.
So it was like seeing a stranger. When you watch them on the screen, it was like someone that totally different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's like I'm really having to detach from who you are as a person to who you are on screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Blood Boots. What role do you think he had in the Jade Dragons? If he had to kind of summarize his job.
So Blood Boots is a trusted enforcer for the Sun family and has been for many years.
Yeah.
And I think when you see him in the show, the years have worn on him, but he still has a lot to offer, but he does complain about the best days being behind him. I think in the first scene that you see him in, he's like, well, back in the day, I used to be the guy that people came to when things got real. And now I'm just cleaning up someone else's mess. You know what I mean? So it's like, the thing about Blood Boots is despite his background, in all the triad activities and everything, business is business. He's still actually a super cheerful kind of guy.
Yeah, yeah.
If I'm honest, it's like when I read about Blood Boots, I was like, oh gosh, this is me in 10 years' time if I take a few more knocks to the head. You know what I mean? It's so when I read about Blood Boots, I was like, okay, he's a bit of a goofball, and so am I. I mean, that is complete.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Now, I think what a lot of people didn't expect maybe when they saw the description of this show, but what really came through for me, and I think for a lot of, especially Asian Americans or Asians in general, was the idea of family and loyalty to family no matter what, even if it cost you your life, and unfortunately that happens to some of you, right, in this drama. But could you relate to the family dynamics of this drama? I think so many Asians could relate to the family aspects of this drama.
Oh, absolutely. And I think certainly seeing Bruce's character, Sam's character as Bruce, it was like
Right.
It was a little. It's more relatable than I care to admit. I think the bits where when Bruce said like, oh yeah, when my mother got me to attend school with chicken pox just to preserve my 100% attendance record. I was like,
Right.
Oh yeah. And I remember thinking, you know what I mean? It's like, well, that's kind of relatable.
Yeah, definitely. And just the whole dynamics in terms of how important the family are to each other. I definitely see that a lot. I think it's a very relatable topic. The closeness. I'm really close with my mom, and I just really loved seeing that relationship between Michelle and Sam. Obviously, she's close with Charles, but she's, they're estranged from each other at the beginning. So to see them all become really close at the end, it's very moving, that journey, because it's a very relatable topic. And I think that, Michelle does an insane job at doing that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and seeing June gets taken in, I didn't expect that, right? I expected her kind of just to go away, but June becomes part of the family too. She's like the new daughter.
Yeah. I mean, because they're both orphans. I think, June, particularly in that scene in episode 3, where you see her coming to the family house and she sees that relationship between the brothers and the mum, love, really. I think she never had that. I mean, she had May, basically, which was her family. And then I think that's what sets her on this journey to find out who killed May. So I think the fact that she joins the family, she lets us, and it takes the time to do that, right? She doesn't do it initially. She takes some steps to see if she can trust these people, but I think she really connects with them in terms of they mean a lot to her. And I think, I think that's that relationship feels really strong.
No, I love that part of it. And unfortunately, John, you had to take one for the team. On this one. Yeah. Do you know how many times you've died on screen? How many times? It's got to be dozens of times by now.
I can count maybe about 20 odd times offhand. But I'm really good at it. I'm really good.
Yeah, I guess.
Honestly, your death was. I was crying. I was crying when I saw that, because it was so moving, and I just didn't. I was not expecting it. It was no, they're going down like dominoes. I was like, stop.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, someone was going to step in. I thought someone would step in and get you, but no.
Well, I did check the timestamps. Had Bruce come just 1 minute sooner, Blood Boots would have survived. So I blame the slow walking aunties.
Come on,
yeah. But I definitely feel that with that scene, because that was my 3rd day on set, and that was my 1st day with Michelle. So I had been in LA for maybe a week. So I was still jet lagged. I was still tired, but she made me feel so at ease. But I think when we first did that scene, when we locked eyes, I tell you what, I wanted to cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, that was a really beautiful scene. It's I think what got me the most though was actually when. Not actually my death. It was actually Bruce's reaction to the death.
Yeah.
I get really emotional seeing that, because I saw that in person when he looked over at the body, and he did such an amazing job. And it was so every time I see that scene where he starts crying, it really hits me. It really, really hits me every time. It hits me as hard as it did first time round. I was
All of us. No, you're not alone, man. It's all
Oh, I'm
of
glad
us.
to hear
Yeah.
it.
There were some really emotional moments in the brother son. Actually, honestly feel like the show has everything. It has those really touching, soft moments, juxtaposed against the real like fighting and comedy. And I just think it's so bingeable. Like we've heard people saying that. Like when I
Yeah.
was watching it, I was like, wait, no, we can't finish we have to keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, really want to talk about the role of women in this show. I can't think of many crime dramas with so many really strong female characters. Alice, what did it mean for you to be a part of this cast that has so many really badass female characters, including yourself, Jenny, Madison, Michelle, and Heidi?
I mean, it was honestly a dream come true. I couldn't have asked for anything better as an actress to be able to work along like those incredibly strong women that you just listed. And being, a part of the story, the women are really strong. I mean, at this time as well, and with diversity and what the show is saying, it's just so important. So I had a lot of fun, and I think strength comes in many forms. It comes in vulnerability. I think if you're very vulnerable, it's a huge strength for men and women, but it's often deemed as if you're vulnerable, you're seen as weak. And I don't think that's true at all. I think it's the opposite. And I think strength comes in loyalty, and it also comes in knowing who to protect. And it feels like the women really do that. I know Heidi's character sort of does a 180 a little bit with Justin, but there's all that romance entanglement. So, it's, but still she's a strong, all of us are like strong in our individual ways. So I really, had so much fun exploring that.
Yeah. So good. It's so much fun. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of buzz out there about a season 2. No official announcements yet, but I'm guessing the cast would be down. Alice, the cast be down for a season 2?
Oh yeah, the cast would definitely be down. I'm like, come on, get the announcement going.
All right, so here's a pure speculation.
Oh,
a lot of people are wondering which brother, if they want a love line for June, which brother do you think June would choose? Charles, the fighter, the baker, or the sensitive nerd in Bruce? Which brother do you think? Now, this is not in the script at all. This is pure speculation. What do you think?
Well, I was talking to Jon about this exact question. I think we did talk about this, right, Jon?
Oh yeah.
This did come up. You're not the first person, and I'm sure you won't be the last person to ask me this. But I have to say, it's an interesting one. But I think if June were to pick, I think she would probably go with Charles. But then, it would be an interesting relationship. What it would be, I think it would be a fun one to watch. But I definitely think Charles, because I think Bruce is a little bit too young and a bit too. She has to protect Charles, right?
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
Charles, Bruce. June is a better fighter than Bruce, and she's very strong. So maybe Charles would match her.
I could see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that.
I mean, I still think June could win, but in a fight. But we'll see. I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Now, Jon, I sent you a thread from Angry Asian Man, Phil Yu, and he was saying he wants to see a prequel with where Blood Boots and Xing have to travel around and do something. Do you have any plot ideas for that one? Maybe traveling around Asia, just wreaking havoc? What do you think?
So actually, in the event that does happen, that's when Blood Boots is actually in his prime. Now, in episode 4, around the dinner table, Michelle actually says to Blood Boots, well, back then you weren't so fat. And so because Blood Boots isn't in his prime anymore, if there was some kind of prequel with Xing, that's when Blood Boots would actually be younger, look in his prime. So I actually dropped 43 pounds in the event that this might be a thing. So, yeah. So I've always been about 240, but I'm weighing in at just about 200 at the moment.
All right, you're ready to go. So the phone call, at any time the phone call comes, you're ready to do it?
I'm ready to go, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, we'll definitely be down, hopefully get renewed, but let's see what happens.
Amazing. That would be
You know,
super
I
fun.
feel like it's so nice because this cast works so hard. I have never worked with a cast that just put in so much time to dedicate to the craft. And I think that is, it really speaks volumes when you watch the show. And I feel like it would really be disappointing if we didn't get a season 2 because of all the work and of all of the fans and everything. So I feel like that. But at the end of the day, that hard work has been noticed, and it's, you know, everyone just has worked so hard, really, the training, everything. Yeah.
Something I'd like to add to that is so Justin Chen. Now,
Yeah.
I always regarded him to be an older brother, even though he's actually physically younger than I am. But I always regard him to be older because of seniority. Now, in terms of, say, when he finished filming, a long day of filming, he would be in the gym working out, and he'd be drilling techniques. And I know that because I was there. And I didn't work every day, so I had a lot more free time than him. So seeing him in there training and constantly driving, and you know, we trained together a lot, and he'd say to me, okay, like, I'm practicing this sequence, let's drill it a little. And it's like, so that was always super inspiring for me to see just how hard everybody worked. And it was like, that is really reflective on the performances on screen.
100%.
Yeah.
No, I completely second that. It was like so much fun to work with people that work that hard and were that passionate. And if we get season 2, the work only ramps up another notch. There will be no sleep. There will be no sleep. And I will get extra bionic arms. So yeah, no. June comes back with 4 legs instead of 2. She can outrun everyone. No, yeah. The work was, it was kind of incredible to watch that, and to be a part of that and to do that with everyone. Everyone was helping each other, so that felt really great.
So a little bit of an industry question. This is a show featuring an all Asian cast, an all Asian writers room, an Asian casting director, production designer, costume designer, cinematographer, stunt coordinator, all Asian directors, scenes shot at iconic LA establishments, music from Asian artists. Can you share the impact that this had on you both personally and professionally?
Yeah, I'll go first. Absolutely. So it just feels like home. And I think when we did the 626 night market, honestly, it just feels like home to be with so many people from the same kind of background, environment, culture, traditions. So being on a set where we had Vera, who was our costume designer, for instance, she knows it inside out. Nobody's done more research on the costume than she has. And it was like, she did so much research as well. So basically, the mood board for the costumes was extensive. So especially for Blood Boots, a lot of the dress sense was from what Don Lee would wear from his other films. And it was like, so, you know, it was just phenomenal, especially as someone like Vera. She knows the culture inside out, the language, everything, all the traditions. And it's like, you know, it just makes it so much more authentic.
Yeah, you know, I know I've used this word a lot, but it really just felt very special and quite groundbreaking. This is like such a new, fresh show that needs to be watched, and it's so important. And Brad, Kevin, Byron, Jenny, Brooke, all of these people have absolutely championed and just led forth this production. And I think without those people, it wouldn't have happened. And so, you know, and then Michelle leading it. And I mean, it's honestly groundbreaking. I do feel it's groundbreaking because, you know, it's just so important, and it's just so much fun as well. Like, let's not forget the fun costumes, all the food that you see, you know, and all those fights. Like, who doesn't, you know, it's so much fun. Like, it's not like that is real life. I don't go home and suddenly whip out these moves, you know, unless I get really angry. It's just got everything. And that's why I feel like it's a really honestly special show and has a really big part of my heart, definitely.
Yeah, it honestly feels so historic in a way. And I love the show from start to finish. And I really do hope that there are more opportunities like this again in the future. And a season
Yeah,
Yeah.
two.
definitely. I mean, you're so right with even saying Crazy Rich Asians. That was 4 years, 2018, and it felt
Yeah.
like it's like there's lots of work that have been so incredible before that, but it's like for some reason it felt like Crazy Rich Asians really broke that gate almost. And since
Yeah.
there's been a lot, and I just feel like it should just be more because it's all so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're starting to see it, where before Crazy Rich Asians, it was kind of like one-offs, like Joy Luck Club, or there's like one,
Right,
Better Luck
right.
Tomorrow. There's one at a time, but now it's been, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Beef, you have your
Beef,
show.
you've got- yes, and then we got the three boy problem, and there's Avatar, and it's like this is great, and it's like all of those series deserve season 2 because we're actually
For sure. Well, we're running out of time a little bit. I could talk to you guys all afternoon, but are you guys ready for a little lightning round?
Sure.
okay.
Okay. All right. So first thing that comes to your mind, favorite spot for Asian food inside the SGV?
I'm going to say Panda Express. Panda Express. I don't know what they put in the orange chicken. Love it.
You
Gotta have
love that. John loves that Panda Express. If you don't know where John's gone to, he's gone to Panda Express. No pun intended there. But because I'm not from around there, I'm going to say I can't say Panda Express, but I'm going to say 626 Night Market because they do great food there.
Sure. Well, you guys have an insider now. If you need to go somewhere in LA, talk to Katie. She's from down there. So, Katie, you got a recommendation for the SGV?
I got 2. So for dim sum, Atlantic Seafood in Monterey Park. And then I really love, so I'm Vietnamese, so I'm going to butcher the pronunciation of this. I think it's Na Chang, and it is in San Gabriel. So they have like pho and bún bò Huế and a few other soup dishes too.
All right. So you got to have a tour guide next time. Give Katie a call.
Oh, I did actually. There was a place that I did go to, but it's not in San Gabriel. It's called Dan. Apologies if my pronunciation is not correct. But Dan Sang Sa, which was incredible. It's quite famous. Actually, June, who plays TK, he went there and he took you, John. He took you and Justin.
Yeah. I tell you what, it's I certainly am going to miss the Korean barbecue. The closest one to me, 2 hours away.
Yes, and the food. And that restaurant was actually featured in The Brother's Son. Best food, the best food. And I actually have to say, the food filming on The Brother's Son was historically incredible. Like, absolutely. I have filmed scenes where you eat and you kind of expect the food not to be good and cold and dry. This was not that. This was like, okay, I need the catering, the food on this show. Again, if we do season 2, I'm going to have to, choose which portions to have because the food was unbelievable. I would actually, I would steal some of the food to take home on the days that I had off because it was so good.
Oh man! See, not to stereotype, but if you put Asians in charge of catering, I think the food's going to be good.
Okay, next lightning round question. What is the best part about being an Asian Brit?
Having the accent. It throws people off, I must.
Oh, that's a good one, John. Okay, having the accent. Yeah, I love that, actually. Surprising people with my accent, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's John.
Yeah.
It is a really great answer. That's why I'm stealing it.
Yeah.
The internet seems to be divided on whether or not I sound more like Gordon Ramsay or Stewie Griffin. I'll take...
Actually, I can hear a little Stewie. Actually, to be
I
Can't hear it.
All right. If either of you could do a fight scene with anyone, living or deceased, who would you like to do a fight scene with, or a character?
Jet Li. So Jet Li was my hero since I was a kid, and it was I met him as part of the Jet Li fan club in 2000. So I met him 24 years ago, and I know sometimes they say don't never meet your heroes, but he was one of the nicest guys in the world. And
nice.
He's one of the reasons why I'm still in the game today, why I even started. So it would be a dream to do a fight scene with him and get my butt kicked.
Yeah. How about you, Alice? You guys, anyone you like to spar with?
I would actually love to do a fight with Jon. Because it would be so much fun, and I feel like I wouldn't be scared of hurting him because I'm very, very cool. But it would be interesting, I would use different techniques, and I would really have fun if I did that. Yeah.
That would be great.
How about a Michelle Yeoh fight scene? Though?
No, I'd be too scared. I would be too
Too
scared.
intimidating.
Yeah. I'd be too scared. I just wouldn't want her to beat me, and she probably would. And I wouldn't want that.
She's a legend.
I also love to fight Charles just because of the competition. I know he could probably beat me, but it's like, but could he? Depends.
But could he? Yeah. No, we would pay to see that for sure.
Yeah, I know you would.
Thinking about future projects, what type of character would you like to play next, or what genre would you like to dive into?
So me personally, I love sci-fi. So it would be wonderful to work on something like Star Trek or anything. But I'm also a big comedy fan. I love Big Bang Theory. I love How I Met Your Mother. And seeing, say, where Terry Crews has gone with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it's like big dude, and he can do action, but he's also quite a lovable fella. You know what I mean? And so I think I'd love to do comedy too.
Or like a Dave Bautista, he does some comedy too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this question, and I have so many answers, but because it's quick fire round, I'm going to say I would love to work on something that's very similar and to Succession. So anything that Lucy Preble has written, I am a huge fan. Yeah, I mean, anything that she writes, or Phoebe Waller-Bridge, again, comedy, but like a little heightened part, like a kind of crazy secretary I'd love to play, or like someone that's like intense, but like funny, that's like comically a bit useless, but a bit like, hello, look at me, hello. Like, I think that would be really fun. And a bit of improv in there. So anything with Lucy Preble, basically. Love to try that. Yeah.
All right, and we'll end with our signature question. We like to ask our guests who their infatuasian is. Infatuasian is anyone in the Asian community, living or deceased, that you admire. You've mentioned a few already, so if you want to restate an answer, that's fine too. But Jon, who is your infatuasian?
Absolutely, it's Michelle. She's been a staple throughout my entire life, growing up watching all her films, and certainly. As I said earlier, I love Star Trek, and now seeing Michelle Yeoh in Star Trek, these are two things that I love the most. You know what I mean? But without a doubt, absolutely.
That's a great answer.
I'm also going to second that, like 100% hands down, Michelle. I remember seeing her on cast and then getting to meet her, and I kind of had to act normal and probably didn't. And it was like, I was just so like starstruck, but also at the same time, like, she's just incredible, and she's so down to earth, but just working with us and kind of rubbing off her star power on us. I was like, yes, please. So definitely everything she touches and does is amazing. And I just, she's also really fun. But she's just incredible in what she's done for the community and what she's done for the world, like how talented she is. Like, I mean, that Oscar is so well deserved. So yeah.
Hey, you're preaching to the choir. We are huge fans of Michelle.
I know. Honestly, when I first ever met her, I was like, okay, just try and act normal.
Be cool.
Just try and be cool.
When I first met her, I thought, right, okay, you got to create a good impression. Hi, I'm Jon. Oh.
Squeaky voice.
Yeah, it's like
you thought yours was bad, Jon. I think mine was horrific. Like, I don't get starstruck. I just don't. Like, I've been very lucky, and I've met a couple of other actors who, and you're just a bit like, okay, that's great. But with Michelle, I was like, I had this whole, like, I wanted to be like, oh my God, you've paved the way. Like, I watched you when I was 10, or like, not but I also don't want to, that she was, being so amazing, but you kind of just get a bit frazzled. So I was like, I didn't really say much, but just sort of nodding. And I sort of wanted to just hug her.
No, I bet she gets that all the time, that look in people's eyes.
She's probably like, oh, go away. No, she's not like that. But she's probably like, Yeah, so used to it. She's so graceful with it.
Oh
And
man.
she always says like, "Oh my gosh, it's so fun to work with us," because I've seen that she said that, and I think what we have to remember is that like we all like teach each other little bits of different things, and so I think
Hmm.
that was what was also really special about this cast. Yeah.
Mm. Well, today you guys are our Infatuations. We are so happy to have you guys on here.
Aw.
Thank you.
We could
Thank
really
you.
do this all afternoon, but we have to get back to work, Katie.
Oh, of course, of course. No, 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 that's fine. Friday evening for
uh,
me, so.
oh man, but thank you so much for coming on.
Can we get a photo of some sort? I don't know how
Yeah,
to
let's
Yeah,
do
see.
a group.
Let me
yes.
How
see.
do you do a group
Oh,
view? Can
I might take a screenshot.
Yeah, let's do it,
yeah.
Katie.
Okay.
Ready? All right. In 3, 2, 1. All right. Yeah, I'll send it to you guys. That was so fun.
Yay. Thank
thank
you.
you
But
so much.
yeah, and Katie, thanks for coming on too on short notice.
Lovely
Yeah,
to meet
happy
you,
to be here.
Katie.
I'm so glad. I was gonna try and rearrange my schedule to make it. So
Oh,
So yeah, if you want to follow John on Instagram, he's at Jon Xue Zhang. I'll write this all out in the show notes. And Alice is at Alice Hewkin on Instagram. Any big projects coming up that we should know about?
I'll keep you posted.
Okay.
Uh, I have a film coming out with Rami Malek, which is coming at the end of the year, which I play a CIA agent. That was really fun. I shot that. Do you know what? I can't remember because all the years have gone into muddle. But that film, and it did get delayed due to the strikes and everything, but I wrapped
Hmm.
on it after. So yes, that is coming out, and I'm very excited for that. I think that will be a brilliant film. I mean, obviously it's got Rami, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. Again, a very different character in that.
Good, good. Yeah, no, love to see it. I can't wait to see you both in different
Oh,
things.
Thank you.
Katie, you're welcome back anytime as well. And everyone out there, you can follow Katie at Katie Yao Yao on Instagram or TikTok. And as I mentioned, you can write to us at infatuationpodcast@gmail.com. And please follow us on Instagram at infatuationpodcast. All these details will be in the show notes. And so, on behalf of John, Alice, Katie, and myself, we hope that you're all happy, healthy, and safe out there. We'll talk to you soon, everyone. Bye.
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 Bye. Also, watch for the sun.
Oh, yeah, watch Brother Son. Yeah, I didn't mention
Watch
that.
it. Watch it now.
Oh man, yeah. Are you guys still in the top 10? You were kind of hanging on there, like 8. You're number 8 for a while on the Netflix top shows in America, at least.
I think the US was still top 10. I'm not sure.
No, it's getting some views, so I would be shocked if you don't get a season 2. I really think this one is gonna
Oh.
be good. I hope.
we
hope,
really
fingers
want it.
crossed. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys go. Thanks for staying up late with us.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you
having
so
us.
much. Thank you for having us.
Bye.
Katie, how fun was that?
I had the best time. It was so great to speak with them. I loved hearing like all the little tidbits and just their relationship. You can really tell the
Yeah.
cast loves each other.
Yeah, yeah. And just the nicest people too,
So
aren't
nice. So nice.
they?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. No, I was really happy to connect with them in the first place, but you never know what you're going to get. You know, sometimes people are kind of like, "Sure, I'll do it." But they were really into it and enthusiastic about doing it, and their answers were great and just their personalities. I want to be friends with them. Can we hang out with them?
I mean, I love that we have a picture together too, but even some of the
Yeah.
questions we asked, they already were getting into the follow-ups before we even asked them. So
Yeah.
I truly felt like we could have talked the whole afternoon.
100%. Yeah, I like to keep these, around an hour, but yeah, we should have done one with each of them. And now that I'm thinking about it, but oh well, it was fun having them on together too, though.
Yeah. I think they also liked doing it together. I didn't realize how close they really were too.
Yeah. No, that was funny. That story, that's totally a true story where I was just DMing John, like, oh, and if I was kind of joking, if you want to have anyone else come on with you, let me know. And he's like, well, I'm working out with Alice. Like, that was a true story. They were at the gym at that moment. I was DMing.
That's perfect timing, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. And then I said, well, if Michelle's around too, she's welcome to come on. But he was like, dream on, buddy. But yeah, no, that was fun. So thanks for co-hosting.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. I love the podcast, so I'm always very appreciative when you think of me for opportunities like this.
Yeah, we'll come up with some more. Hey, you can produce shows too. If you come up with any, let me know. We can do, I want to do some more Southern California stuff, so you might be the expert on that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's link up.
Okay. All right. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.